Well, what's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday. And Zach Bollinger, good to see you. We're not in studio again, Stop Traffic, but we are actually live up top. Zach, I feel a little bit alone here. You're not with me. We're live, Merritt Clubs in Canton. A whole lot to talk about here. First off, I want to go for a dip. That's number one. Number two, I want an alcoholic beverage. And number three, we're going to have to talk a little bit of baseball here because the Orioles are the first to strike in the trade market. And I know a lot of people want to talk about that and be a part of it. And no, you don't have to sneak by. You guys have a great day. Cheers.
There we go. Just people helping
Everyone's
people.
having a good move. When you're by a pool, Zach, you can't have a bad time.
Scientifically, you can't.
You can. And right now I'm staring at, the only thing I'm staring at is I want to go in because it's a little bit hot, but that's okay. And again, this is brought to you by our friends over at Merritt Clubs. Howdy. But Zach, because we're going to do it quick, but how you doing, my friend? Orioles, you wake up, whammy. The first trade happens, but maybe it's not the player you expected that was going to be on the move.
Yeah, definitely not. For a lot of Orioles fans, and like myself, they saw the notification the Baltimore Orioles are trading Brian Baker to division rival Tampa Bay Rays in pretty much the first deal, I'm going to call it, of the deadline, because now it feels like, okay, we have valuable assets being traded. It's not under, no guys that are, minor leaguers, no players to be named later. But I think this trade kind of marks the beginning of, I don't want to call it the sell, but I think of evaluating value, because they got the opportunity. I don't think they were, and I said this earlier today, I don't think they were shopping Brian Baker, but the opportunity to get a first-round pick, compensatory pick, number 37, is something they did not think was possible. So when they got it, it's hard to turn that down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and look, so to take you behind all the scenes, and Zach, actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to throw this one video in because it's Tony Manzolino was talking about the front office and the organization, the players and the coaching staff of where it is. I just bookmarked it on Twitter. So if you can download that, would be great. Because of the context of this whole thing. So yeah, Brian Baker's on the move, and the reports and Brian Baker, sad because he loved being a Baltimore Oriole, right? It was a little bit stunning. Not that the move is stunning that you're trading guys, right? We want to make that clear. It's not that the move is stunning, but you're leaving a place where you felt like you're finding a rhythm. And for the Orioles, though, when you look at value, let's look at the business. You essentially turn Brian Baker into a first-round pick. You get the comp pick, 37th overall in the draft. That's why it's done this early, because the draft is just a few days away, Zach. So if you want that pick, it has to be done now. And what the Rays get, and this is what the Rays do really well, and if you guys saw a short I put out on YouTube last night, I'm very high on how the Rays operate for what they are. And it's a very damn good team. And they say, you know what, Brian Baker has 3 more years of control, and the Rays do a great job with developing their pitchers. So he's going to a spot where they're going to be competing to win the AL East, competing to go to the playoffs, whammy. But you have to move on. And I don't know what the next domino pieces will be. And that's actually, Zach, do you have that clip from Tony Manzolino available?
Yes, I do, if it would download.
Well, give me a thumbs up when you're
there. We go. We got it.
Ready? Okay, so Tony Manzolino then was asked about how the front office making moves, what it means for the team this year and beyond. So let's play his clip from the media before the game today.
Do you still think that it's possible for this team to play well enough over the next 3 weeks to put the front office in a position to either not sell at the deadline or maybe even be buyers?
Well, we have a really smart group in the front office. I by no means do I think that they're trying to cash in this year or next year or anything like that. I think they're trying to figure out how to win this year and how to win next year with whatever move that they're making. So, and the players know that, and the staff knows that. So, however this thing goes, it's with the idea that we want to win games this year and we want to win games next year and going forward, and put the organization in a strong position to continue to succeed the way we have the last couple of years.
So if you couldn't hear that, he's essentially saying the front office is thinking about winning not just this year, but next year. Now we know they're going to have to do some historic things here, Zach. Historic. If that happens here, People are going to be taking some deep eddy shots left and right, having some more crushes, having a time. But if you're being realistic, you got to see what the value is out there. Zach, if I had told you a year ago, 2 years ago, that the Orioles could turn Brian Baker into a essential first-round pick, you would have laughed. You would have thought that was outrageous because most of the Baltimore fan base was out on Brian Baker as a pitcher. Also goes to show you how quickly things can turn around.
I mean, Ryan, I'll go one step further. If you would have told me that they got a first-round pick for Brian Baker 2 months ago, I'd be like, what? I mean, this is the sell high. You are trying to say this is where his value peaked. And that's why I keep saying he's under contract, no options, but under contract through 2029. I don't believe they were shopping him. I truly believe that this was a situation where the Orioles got an offer that they physically couldn't refuse. There's a price on everyone. And when the Rays came to them and said, we'll give you pick 37, that happens in 5 days. You know, I know people are like, why didn't you wait for, maybe a bidding war, see something happen? Draft doesn't happen after the deadline. Draft happens Sunday. So you have to go. You got an opportunity to turn Brian Baker into a first-round pick. And Kevin and I talked about this, reacting to the trade earlier today. We're not going to know who won this trade for 3 years. It's one of those when the first-round pick, when a pick, lower-end guys, lower-level guys trade, you're not going to know for a little bit. So this trade, I think, is great value for the Orioles. And I think overall, once the deadline's done, if they can still get some ready pieces, meaning guys that are in AAA, maybe Major League ready, that can help in 2026 as well, then you're going to look back on that and go, wow, what a steal that you're able to get a first-round pick there.
Oh, my goodness. And look, Brian Baker, I hope nothing but the best for that dude, especially, and I've told this, and I got the soft spot for the players, because once you get in the business of the game, because guess what? You go to whatever your job is, that's a business. You play professional baseball, that's a business. And yeah, fans, when you can root for your team, that's the fun part, but you can also agonize over it. But in the business, the guys, in an instant, your career can change. And it might not be where you want it to be. So for Brian Baker, he looked like he was on the outside looking in with the birds. Injuries happened. He makes the team. Look what happens. And now his career can continue to ascend, going to a Tampa Bay Rays team, which as of right now, and that's fluctuating back and forth, have won the 3rd/4th most games in Major League Baseball over the last 15 years. So you want to talk about production. You want to talk about getting it right. This is really good for Brian Baker. It just is hard, though, because the relationships, you got to say goodbye to these guys. No longer are you a Baltimore Oriole. No longer are you going to see those guys here. Kyle Stowers talked about it when he went to Miami. Hardest thing was leaving the group that you were with. But business-wise, it's the best thing that ever happened to Kyle Stowers. So that's all I got to say about that. Zach, I know you got a roll ski here in a moment here. But any final words before I let you skedaddle on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is great value. I think this is great value. I don't think the Orioles, I'll say it again, I don't think they're shopping Baker. I think they got an offer they genuinely couldn't refuse. And I think this is going to be a win-win. Tampa gets a guy that Tampa's Tampa. They're going to turn him into a very, very, very nice arm. The Orioles in return get a very solid asset in the first-round pick. So, you take the win in both ways. So I think this was a great trade for both sides. It was shocking. Let's call it what it is. It was shocking. I did not think Brian Baker was the first guy getting moved, but that's what happened. They got a deal they couldn't refuse. And I mean, hey, you want to look at it this way? Orioles are 1-0 in the post Brian Baker era, I guess. So something's working.
There it is. And Zach, you'll be back next week when we'll be doing the damn thing. Thank you for joining the first episode of Rip After Dark last night, which is just
I had to. I had to. I wanted to entertain the people, stay on for a while. It's what I do.
Okay. You done? Yeah, right when we were ending, but we went down memory lane here, and we're going to continue to have Rip After Darks for our channel members. I'm very, very proud of the little thumbnail I put together there, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
That was good.
Yeah, oops. But we have a whole lot that we'll talk about that. So if you're interested in the Rip After Dark, episode 1's out. Channel members, you guys have access to that. If you want to be a channel member, click that join button. And whammy, you can see it and get the notification when we are doing the damn thing next. But Bali, safe travels, my friends, and beat it.
Yeah, have a fantastic show, everyone. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be back at it next week if you're normally scheduled. I'll be in studio doing shenanigans. So we'll see you all next week. Shenanigans. We're talking shenanigans tomorrow. Shenanigans. We'll see you. And Kevin and Zach react after the game 2 today. Hopefully 2 wins for the O's. Everyone have a great day.
Tarps off. All right. See you, Zach. Zach Bollinger, good kid. So Kevin and Zach react. They react after every post game or every game post game. But because of the doubleheader, they'll react after the second game tonight with the O's and the Mets, trying to win the series, do the damn thing. Yeah, we're live here at Merritt Clubs. I can't tell you how much I just want to sit back, relax, and just have a cocktail. That's just what I'm feeling here. But we got to talk a little baseball. And I think because it is Thursday and our show's a little bit different, I want to open it up to our channel members as well. That's a part of being a channel member here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Holy Shirts and Pants members, you guys can call in and tell me how you feel. And we got a little bit of grace period before the second game. Before we get into that, though, a couple things I want to touch on in case you missed it from this week. All right. Tuesday and Wednesday, we had goodness. We're going back. We had Darren O'Day, Jim Duquette talking trades. We had Jim Callis, MLB draft coming up. Found out he's a Steelers fan, but he's got a lot of respect for the Ravens. Him and Nick Moore think that the SEC in Georgia is the best thing since sliced bread. That's a, whole other thing where it's canned bread. I don't know the saying anymore. Who else do we have? Oh, yeah. How about Nick Markakis? Longtime Oriole. Should have been a Oriole for life, in my opinion. That's for a whole different conversation. And then we had Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, yesterday, talking about the Ravens, talking about the Steelers, and him promoting his book, Big Shield. So we've had a lot on the docket here at the Ryan Ripken Show. So hit that like and subscribe button. But I want to close on this with the Rays because I got a little fiery over this. And I saw some comments on X on what people when they talk about spending and doing all that shit. Look, I get it. Spending is nice. Usually win more if you spend, whatever it may be. And then people look at Tampa and say that's not obtainable. Well, I just mentioned how I feel about Tampa, and I'll explain a little bit more how I feel about Tampa after I play this clip the other day. I mentioned that Tampa Bay is top 4, could be top 3 in wins in the last 15 years. Let me explain a little bit more about that development process and a little more heated rant I had when we were cooking with Kyle and the Iron Rooster last week. Organization just turns guys over left and right, regardless of who it is. They have the 3rd most wins in all of baseball now in the last 15 years. There's a culture and a leadership and a standard that's set. The Rays, I'll take it one step further. In the minor leagues, we talk about launch angle and we talk about exit velocity and all this shit. Mm-hmm. You know what the Rays, one of their components is in the minors?
What?
Of development? Winning. Win. That's actually what they teach. We are winning the ball game. And some people go, wait a minute, that's going to hurt the development skills. Hey, it could. Maybe you can make that argument.
But you know how to win.
But you know how to win. And guess what? The Rays frickin' win. First off, that guy is very, very good looking, if I could be biased. And the hairline, though, has looked better in years past, but for a different time. But the point is still the same. The Rays know how to win damn games, man. And I think that Baker's going to be really good for them just because they have a good system that goes in place and they're able to just plug and play. And having Kevin Cash as their manager, that's been stable. Their organization, even though people can say, well, spend some damn money. Well, they did spend some money on Wander Franco, which, woof, we knew how that, turned out here. But they evaluate who they want the best. Like when people talk about, or the Orioles are saying they want to scout well and try to evaluate. If you want the best example for me, look no further than the team in your own division down south, down under, which down under just means in Tampa Bay. They evaluate guys well. Ryan Pepio came over in the Tyler Glasnow trade. He is lights out. They got Shane Baz earlier on in a move. He looks great. They maximize guys, and then they have pieces that can fill the void too. And they're good players. So Tampa is a great model. And I know people saying, well, Tampa hasn't won anything, Ryan. Well, I want to talk to fans here, and be honest with me. Everyone wants a World Series title, right? Would you care to go back to a World Series? Would you want to see that again? Just out of curiosity, just go. Because a lot of teams still haven't even gotten back to a World Series, let alone 2. The Rays have been to 2 World Series in this century. The Baltimore Orioles haven't been back to a World Series since 1983. 1983. And then I saw people talking about the Yankees. The Yankees just went back to the World Series for the first time in 15 years. They haven't won a championship since 2009. Right? And yeah, they spend money. They do. But it didn't equal a championship. Well, look at the Dodgers now. The Dodgers finally broke through, but how up until COVID when they won, who they beat the Rays, and then last year where they almost were eliminated by the Padres in the NLDS, backs against the wall in Game 4 in San Diego, and they're able to pull it off. But people for the longest time goes, they can just win games. But now it's going, well, they spend a lot of money. That's why they're winning games. That's why they're winning championships. Miss me with that fully. I get it. You spend money, you can get rewarded. But just spending is not going to get you to where you want to go. And I get it. I understand. There's a salary reason within that conversation. So I hear you. You spend, typically the top 10 spenders win a World Series. I get it. But if you're looking at longevity, you need to have a structure. And the Rays, whether you like it or not, for the last 15 years, they have been as consistent as every other team except what? Just a handful. Actually, not even a handful, 3. That's the crazy part. They are not the Giants, but they are an underrated organization that continues to carry on content over and over and over again. But talking about caps, right? I think that's actually one thing I want to talk about before we have a little chat. Let's chat about this. Saw the salary cap. There's a report that the MLB is going to talk a little bit about some salary cap conversations. And I actually tweeted this out the other night, and I got met with a lot of pushback of, Ryan, well, this needs to happen. So the Athletic reported that Rob Manfred, commissioner of Major League Baseball, I'll pull up that little clip for the little spot right here. When I move, you move, guys. Say it with me. Just like that. Just like that. And if I could upload this, it would be great. 3, 2, 1. How about a little whammy? All right, so right there. Rob Manfred is pushing for salary cap, and players are skeptical. And I wrote out, you can't spell salary cap without S-T-R-I-K-E. That spells strike, in case you guys needed a little assistance there. Players do not like the concept of caps, right? Baseball players, they don't like it. I understand that that's probably where the game could move, but there is going to be so much damn pushback because you know what? I think the system in baseball is flawed. I think the system to have guys go through so much arbitration to sit there and yeah, you're making good money and nobody out there is going to feel bad about a player making $750,000 at minimum per year, right? That's pretty nice. Can get you a lot of flexibility. But if you're one of the best players, you have to wait to get through this time period. So I think if we are ever going to see a salary cap, a couple things have to happen here. All right. Number one, there has to be a floor. I think you're going to have to see a floor be put of money that has to be spent for players. That's number one. Number two, you have to see a different way to change arbitration. Like Brian Baker is going to be a free agent at 34. He's got to go through 3 more years of arbitration. Think about that. Like Cedric Mullins, he felt like he's been in Baltimore for 25 years, but he's got to wait until next year to be a free agent. He's 31, right? So if you're going to change into a salary cap, you're going to have to change this whole arbitration thing because the whole thing of keeping guys for an extra year, their value, X, Y, and Z. That's why players are like, well, hey, bullshit, I'm not going to accept the salary cap because of those reasons, right? And I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense a little bit? And I get it. I know smaller markets suffer, and I get that. I think with this conversation, and again, like, this is why you want a salary cap. Baseball is going to have to get rid of arbitration. Baseball is going to have to add a floor, because guys are sitting there going, I want all of my damn money that I can, because in a heartbeat, you've proven to me that I got to stay X amount of years just to hit that payday. So I don't blame anyone that goes out there, like Tony Tater's chasing 5 years, 90 mil. I don't blame him, because that dude got paid. And in the year that he's having right now and being injured, that value just plummeted, right? It didn't matter what he did 3 years ago, or for the last 3 years being the most consistent hitter out there, right? So that's just the way the cookie crumbles there. Yeah, Brad. And I know you're not here on right now, but hey, how you doing? Brad Smith, friend of the show, friend of the program, part of the show, part of the program, co-founder of the show, part of the program. But yeah, arbitration would have sucked for you had you been called up at 29. Yeah, like if I made the big leagues and I got up there, woof, man. Like, again, you're grateful for the opportunities. Don't get me wrong. Like, no one's going to complain about the money. But when we're talking about players, of why guys hold out for longer, or people can look at Boris as this guy, well, I'm going to try to get the biggest deal. Well, he's known for that reputation. But two, guys are sitting there hoping to get the one big deal. And it doesn't play out fairly. I don't like that. I don't like that you're paying for what guys did, not what they could do. And when you look at the massive deals that guys signed, I mean, Aaron Judge is the one guy that's paying off on his massive contract. Blake Snell just signed a 5-year, $182 million deal, and he's hurt. So one of those years is going to be washed away for what he accomplished, not as an LA Dodger. So that's just my point. And it's like, yes, the whole system is just broken. It's a broken system. And that's why we're having these discussions. And that's why I'm getting a little heated, or maybe I'm just a little hot in here. Gosh, it's hot out here, but I wanted to put a little Nelly reference because I'm a huge Nelly guy, huge Ludacris Nelly. That 2000s hip hop time was something else. You had to be there. And I think the thing that kills me is, like, Zach was like barely out the womb when those songs came out. So that's just what it is. And John, I'm with you. I think a strike's coming. It's going to happen. Because you know what? Here's another thing. Guy like my man Gavin Sheets, which apparently they call him Dairy Bonds out there. Shout out Gavin. Minimum deal, minor league deal going into camp, has a career year. Gavin's going to want to try to cash in. And you know what? He should. He should. I think it would change a lot. And you know what? I think if MLB changed its arbitration policies, I think the front offices would act differently with their young stars. I really do. I think that they would evaluate about trying to extend them early to try to give them more space. But there's got to be a floor. There's got to be an understanding. And that's the part where we're kind of stuck after it. And yeah, so Joe, like the ARB years, it's essentially how much time you have to accumulate to get to that point, right? So like Cedric Mullins debuted in 2018. So I got to go back to Cedi's initial deal to give an example. And it is hot. The sun is out. We're having a good time. Cedi debuted in, I want to get a visual breakdown. I don't want a 1 year. I want the breakdown of the breakdown. Can we go back in time? He's pre-arbitration set in 2018 and 2019. And then 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. He avoided arbitration this year, and he's an unrestricted free agent in 26. So it's just the timing of it just off. It's just off. And so I don't blame teams, by the way. It's just sitting here going like, well, damn, what do I want to give this young player all this money just for it not to work out? The one I'm talking about, Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners, one of the most toolsy talented guys. He signed that big extension early. Can't say he's fully lived up to it. He's an all-star again, which I know that's got some people feeling some type of way. But, that's the risk that you run with guys that you're trying to extend. So that's one topic I wanted to get on because I thought it was important. And I think we hit the nail on it. I think you guys know where I'm coming from now. And if you don't, well, that's just too damn bad. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean it. But what I do mean is if you guys can hit that like and subscribe button, Ryan Ripken Show, hit that like and subscribe button. We're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. I see the Facebook group. Shout out to you guys for the likes. YouTube, obviously, the community. It's great. You guys have what's gotten this thing off the ground. And on X, yeah, I see you guys too. Appreciate it. And also you guys can see that sweat on my forehead because it is hot. It is humid up here, but we're having a damn good time here at Merritt Clubs. I would take the tarps off, and you can at the pool, by the way, if you really want to. But I'm not going to do that because I'm looking professional. Maybe for Rip After Dark, though, for the channel members, play your cards right. Might get to see a little bit more. Whew. But guys, it's been fun. We've had so much good guests on this week and conversations about the game, about baseball, about life, football. It's been a blast. It's been an absolute blast. There was a couple other topics I wanted to get into real quick. I thought I had one. We talked about the ABS. We talked to, I had it in my show notes here. Ryan, where is it? And also, terrible day to wear black. Don't know whose idea that was. And by whose idea it was my idea to wear black. But a lot of things happening. I'm really curious about the MLB draft coming up. It's right around the corner. It's right here. And I really want to see if we're going to see history with Ethan Holiday going number one. And then the Holiday family just getting real estate in Maryland. Because they might as well should. Because I believe Ethan, watching him, dude's a beast. Guy is an absolute beast. And Jim Cowles was saying it reminded him of Matt Holiday coming out of high school. Think about that. Matt Holiday was the Gatorade Player of the Year in football coming out of high school as well. Just that family. I don't know what they're doing in Oklahoma, but they're growing them different up there. That is for damn sure. I got a couple clips I want to throw your guys' way that was recapping this week. And one of them was around kind of the trade rumors and thoughts since the trades now. That spot is now open, and it's open for business. I'm having a tough time pulling it up here because it's just me, and I am sweating with the best of them right now. And sorry, Trizzle, you're right. I didn't talk about this yesterday with O'Neal Cruz being in the Derby. O'Neal Cruz is an electrifying bat like Ellie De La Cruz, like physically talented wise. And I played against O'Neal Cruz in Double-A. He was a part of the Altoona curve, and I was a part of the Bowie Bay Sox, now the Chesapeake Bay Sox, but Bowie Bay Sox at the time. And I remember O'Neal Cruz. Shout out my guy, love him, but he did take my boy Big Mike Bauman deep, line drive, piss missile to left center that got out of the yard in about 2 seconds. Now Mike lit him and the rest of Altoona up the rest of the game, but O'Neal Cruz on just talent alone, it's special to watch. So I think home run derby, he could be really exciting. But to your point, it's kind of what I think people want to see in the derby is guys that are either all-star caliber players or guys that can put on a show. O'Neal can hit home runs. He's only hitting 200, but he's got 16 jacks. Why? Because he is a very, very toolsy player. Ellie De La Cruz, probably as toolsy as it comes with guys. Like he is box office to watch, but he's got a lot more that he has to learn with his game. But stars being involved in it, I think, drive the attention. Like truly, right? Don't you guys want to see a guy that can bop? And a guy that can bop that's also putting up numbers. Ellie right now, 18 home runs in 277. With all the power and home runs you've seen, he's a perfect candidate for everything, right? Big Dumper Cal Raleigh, which that's top tier nickname. That's a guy that you want to watch, right? James Wood. Yeah, James Wood is that dude. Dude, James Wood is like I'd say my favorite player in the game, but he is one of my favorite hitters to watch because I don't think people understand how he can just flick a baseball and it goes 420 the other way, right? Like Gunnar Henderson has the capabilities, but like James Wood even trumps Gunnar on that stuff. Like it is ridiculous how easy the ball jumps off James's bat. So I'm really excited about all of that. And I think at the end of the day, with the All-Star game, bringing back jerseys that are the team uni, that brings attention. I think that makes it special. The Derby was the one event that I think is, for me, like the NBA slam dunk contest, like that used to be golden. It used to be sick. And now it's like, meh. And what's the big reason? The stars that you want to see aren't doing it as much. You know, shout out Mac McClung. That dude's got some bunnies. That dude can jump. But overall, yeah, I mean, you're not seeing the stars go out there and play. And what do people want to see at an all-star game? They want to see the stars go out there and do the thing. Now I get it. You're tired. You're chilling. But that is a part of it. Now, one guy that will fit the profile, because I see it here, Steve, and I know he's in it. Brent Rooker. Beast. You know? And I love the fact that he's in the Derby. It's amazing. How about I love the fact that how about two Kansas City bench bats are in the All-Star game this year, Ryan O'Hearn and Brent Rooker. And I talked to both of them about this, and they said that they thought that they were like they perfectly complemented each other because Brent Rooker was used as the lefty specialist when the guy was on the mound, and Ryan was used as facing the righty specialist, right? And here they are, All-Stars in 2025. And also goes to show you it takes time for guys to develop, and you never know who's going to be a guy that turns out to be a dude. And Brent Rooker having another great year, 19 Jackson, 270, coming off a year where he raked in 2024 and he wasn't an all-star, and he had 39 jacks and hit 293. Damn, Brent, go off with your bad self. Yeah. And I mean, Judge, I give Judge grace. I mean, I'd love to. Judge has done a lot for the game, you know, but it is nice. I think the James Wood coming out party will be great. And maybe, do we change James Wood's name to James Lumber? James Lumber, maybe it is. Maybe it could be. You know, it could be. You guys could be a channel member if you hit that subscribe button or join button, by the way. Become a member of the Ryan Ripken Show and join me when we have some off-the-cuff, Rip After Dark conversations. Our other member, Rocco DeSangro, who we don't get to see very often just because of work obligations, but don't worry. He's still a part of the show and program, helping out with a lot of the short-form content if you're following the Ryan Ripken Show on Instagram and X and TikTok now, Facebook. So shout out Rocco for all that. But it gives Rocco an opportunity to come on and talk shop. And also, we went a little bit off the rails because that's what we do. You want to have fun, and we're building a community here where we want to talk about the day-to-day. You know, I want to talk the other day about, what was on my mind? I mean, we can talk about how many times we forget shit left and right. That's me. I don't know if it's because I'm turning 32 in a couple of weeks or, you know, that's just life. We want to try to make all of our content relatable while also giving you the insights that you might not get anywhere else. You know, and that's our ultimate goal here at the Ryan Ripken Show. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. I know we're based out of Baltimore. We talk a lot of baseball. We talk a lot of football. Football season's coming about. We're not there yet. We will get into football talk at the right moment, but we love talking baseball and going around baseball. And right now, if we're going around Major League Baseball, real quick, how about, thought I just lost all my computer tabs, and the rumors are true. I keep my tabs open here, too many of them. Let's get that popping. Let's go around a little bit of Major League Baseball, and since the Orioles are starting to make moves and we're talking about being sellers, Jim Duquette talked earlier in this week on the show about sellers. It's a seller's market because when you look at it, and I'm going to pull up the standings here to give people more of an idea of what I mean by seller's market. You know, the teams that feel like they have some pieces to move and can really cash in and reload, going to be very enticing, especially when you look at how the American League is here. So let me pull this up. and even the National League to an extent. So let me pop that in there. Here we go. Over under. Uh-oh. Excuse me. Ooh. Ooh. Man. I heard you guys say bless you, by the way, when I sneeze. Thank you guys to the audience. You guys rock. Oh, gosh. And Carlos, we will get into fantasy football. We are going to get into fantasy football. You kidding me? In this economy? Absolutely, we're going to get into fantasy football. Where's the present? Present. Let me pull this up for you guys, the standings of why the sellers market is very intriguing. It's because there's so many teams that, no, wrong one, Ryan. Nope, there it is. Sorry. Nope. Heel cinnamon. There it is. Look right now at this wild card standings, okay? So, yeah, Yanks, Rays, Mariners, Red Sox are tied with the Mariners for that final spot. But then you have Kansas City, Minnesota, LA, Texas. That's 4 teams all within 3.5. Then you have the Guardians within 4.5. And then there's Baltimore 6.5, right? So ahead of Baltimore, they have 6 teams that are currently, or 7 teams, sorry, are currently ahead of them for a spot. And all of them are within striking distance. And then you look to the National League, you know, Diamondbacks 4.5 out. The Marlins are trying to hang at 7.5. And how about the Braves falling off? And they could trade pieces. But the Padres, Cardinals, Reds, D-backs, those are 4 more teams that are in the hunt, plus the Giants, Brewers, and Mets, right? So you're factoring all this in. You're factoring it all in. And with all the teams that could sit there and go, could we improve our team right now? Yeah. And for the Orioles, they got pieces. They got starting pitchers that teams would still be interested in. They got bats that teams would still be interested in. The only thing I caution the Baltimore Orioles with is you got to have the line in the sand of who's a part of your process moving forward, because whether the Orioles make the playoffs or not, it's an uphill battle. I do think they're going to get somewhat back in this dance. How far they get in there? Are they going to be dancing in the middle? Or are they going to stay on the outskirts? To be seen. But this is still a really good nucleus of a team. It is. But they have teams that are going to be uberly aggressive. Now, this is the thing, is do not trade Felix Bautista. So help me God. Do not trade Felix Bautista for a lot of reasons. But when you're looking at teams, the 2 options are you can sell. If the Orioles were to buy, I want them to buy a guy. If you're worrying about signing free agent pitchers in the offseason, which is going to be a crapshoot, well, why don't you get pitchers that are on a premium deals? Like Sandy Alcantara is one of those guys that has uber stuff. His value might be low, and the Marlins aren't going to trade him for that value being low. But he's a guy under team control. Mitch Keller is another guy under team control. I know, talking about Falter over there with the Pirates. There's options out there that you can go and get if you want. I think above all, though, you know, if you are committing one way or another, you got to let guys play. And I think when I look at all this, like Texas, to me, they have too good a starting pitching to not make a run for it. So I think Texas is going to buy. The Angels, it's a great story. I'm just trying to figure out what value they have to give. Minnesota, I'm seeing the reports about Joe Ryan being on the move or being available. Hard to say. Kansas City's going to want to buy. Boston, now that they're winning, saying, hell, in the post-Devers area, watch us get hot. You know, I could see them being aggressive. And then let alone the Padres want to keep up with the Giants. And then the D-backs, to me, is probably that other team where I'm circling. They got a lot of pieces like Baltimore that teams would want. So what do? Do you go out there and do it? Do you? I think that's a very, very interesting conversation to have. So right now, this is a seller's market. And a lot of these teams could cash in. And Joe Ryan also, by the way, that dude's a stud. And the Twins, I know they don't want to give him up unless you feel like you're getting someone really good. And I mean really good. Some guy that's going to make you feel good about where your team's moving forward because he has a little bit of team control, and he's got great stuff. You guys want a quick story time on Joe Ryan real quickly? I remember he was playing he was on the Tampa Bay Rays AAA team, the Durham Bulls, and he was playing the Norfolk Tides when I was there in 2021. And there was a time where Joe Ryan would just throw 90% heaters. And that's not an exaggeration. he would throw 90% heaters and no one would hit him. Like I could go text Jahmai Jones right now and be like, hey, remember the days of Joe Ryan in 2021? Is I remember Jahmai coming off after swinging. He goes, dude, I see the fastball. I know the fastball's coming and we can't hit it. No one could in AAA that year. And that 2021 Durham Bulls team was lights out. But the point being, he developed his secondary pitches, and he got traded to the Twins in that Nelson Cruz deal that sent Nelson to the Rays. So Joe Ryan, I'm a big fan of his game. I think that he's an absolute stud. And this is where, like, if the Orioles are selling, I would still be cautious about trying to buy a little piece here or there, right? Because there are pieces out there that you could look forward to in the future. I know fans don't want to see that. Go pay that guy the big contract. It's going to be hit or miss if you go and spend the big money. For the Max Fried, the Yankees fans are going, damn, this feels good. He's amazing. But for the Dodgers, you go, shit, we just spent this money on Blake Snell, and he's out for this year. Corbin Burns is going to miss a lot of next year, right? They're deserving of the contracts. They're deserving of all that. But at the end of the day, value. And we want to look at value here. We're looking at deals. And I know why we bring up Mitch Keller, and I know people are saying, go after Falter. Dude, Mitch Keller is a good pitcher. And you can have a guy that can be a top 3, top 2 pitcher on your staff if he keeps rolling, and you have 3 more years of control, and his salary doesn't go above $20.5 million, right? Sandy is another big one on that. He signed that extension early. It's a steal. It's an absolute steal when you look at where the deals are now, because Dylan Cease is going to go for like $150 million, right? And Sandy, you're going to have 2 more years of control. So like keeping all that together is such a big component of how baseball works. And, and at the end of the day, controllable arms and being smart with going to get some top prospect pitching arms. I mean, hell, that'd be one thing I'd be intrigued with. The Orioles just right now, they don't have those top pitching prospects down there on the farm. But across baseball, that's how teams do things so well. Tyler Glasnow got traded to the Dodgers. Good move for the Dodgers. Unfortunately, he's been hurt. Ryan Pepio, though, was the guy they got in the deal. Stud. Beast. You got to evaluate your talent well. But you also, know what you can evaluate? You can evaluate liking and subscribing to the Ryan Ripken Show, because we're live at Merritt Clubs in Canton. I'm sweating in a black shirt, having a good time. We're going to keep doing more and more things out in the community and enjoying our summertime, because it's great. I love it. I'm going to be back I think I'm doing like a kickboxing class coming up. I did a bar class. Hip flexibility was pretty bad. So many other things here that I'm really excited. And Merritt Clubs right now, the entire place is back open. I don't know if you've been following. A giant storm rolled through, and part of the gym had to be closed. Well, now everything's back open, so your boy might go down and get some jump shots up. Show you how it's done. Because I'm riding here and it's just me, we'll open things up, and this is the part 2 here, the last thing, and I'm going to open it up to the channel members, or the Holy Shirts and Pants members. So if you're a Holy Shirts and Pants member, you can call in. We're going to try to keep it under wraps here. I got about 30 minutes. We'll rock and roll. But I want to really stress on starting pitching overall. And yes, starting pitching, when you have a guy that can be a stopper out there, it makes the world of difference. It does. So when you have guys like Bubba Chandler and Andrew Painter here, who you think have these high ceilings, you might be willing to try to move some guys. But if I'm Philly or Pittsburgh, I don't want to move those guys for anything. I really don't, because that's really hard to find. And if you develop it, I would want to reap the benefits of it, right? I would want to reap the benefits of it. So, and I want to explain also with starting pitching, there's a few other things that we can rock with. Joey, I know you're subscribed on X, so I'll shoot that to you. Let me figure out what I'm doing here. What am I doing? Ooh, let me sit back for a second. Oh. Whew. Sugar. Beautiful day here. And hey, I see the Facebook likes. We're trying to do more and more. A lot in the community. People helping people. And shout out Merritt Clubs. They've been a great partner so far this season. We want to do a lot more events coming up with them. And we've obviously done a lot with events with our friends up at Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races in West Virginia. I was hoping you guys would sing it with me. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And for those that are watching this back in the meantime, I hope you're in the car when you listen to the audio version, that you're hitting a little bit of West Virginia when we're rocking and rolling. But let me throw in that invite to the Holy Shirts and Pants members. So if you guys want to be involved in the call-in process and you're on the YouTube channel, you click that join button, become a Holy Shirts and Pants member. It really just goes back to making this a better experience for each and every one of you. How we get more guests, how we get more opportunities, how we continue to grow. I'm transparent with you guys. We're trying to grow this, and we have been growing. We're over 20,000 on YouTube. We are over 13,000 on X, almost at 15,000 on Instagram. And we went from just a couple hundred views a month to millions of views in 22 months. So that's been a really fun process. I'll do another iced tea, Maureen. Thank you. And see, the hospitality here is 11 out of 10. Can't ask for better service here. Oh, sugar. Let me get that call-in link in there because we're having a good time. How do I? Oh, there we go. About to open that part up. Who? Holy Shirts and Pants members on YouTube. I'm opening it up, the StreamYard link for you guys to join for today's show. Today's show on 7/9/10. Gosh, it's the 10th. Losing track. Joey, I will send you the link, my friend. And we can talk a little bit more about some things. Rip, what are your thoughts on the Orioles struggling against lefties? Well, I think it's a lot more mental now. I think when you keep hearing struggle continues to happen over and over again, you're sitting there going, damn, why the hell am I not able to do something? It's like that thing. Thank you, Maureen. Appreciate it. It warmed up out here. It's a great day, though. Thank you. Maureen's the best. You guys should just come to meet Maureen down here at Merritt Clubs. You guys might see actually Ryan getting a lifeguard outfit. Play your cards right. That might be the Rip After Dark special. But to finish the point here about lefties, I do think it's very mental. It's like when you tell yourself, don't think of white polar bears, or don't think about penguins in the heat. I don't know, right? But you say it out loud, you start thinking it. And at the plate, when you're like, hey, don't swing at a bad pitch, you start thinking about it. Hey, don't swing at a pitch in the dirt. You swing at a pitch in the dirt. When you're thinking too much, hey, why can't we hit lefties? Well, is it something like we got to figure it out? There's something mental, I think, that's overcome this team more than anything else, because they've proven that they can go against some of the best lefties like Max Fried and hang in there. But then they can face a guy that's throwing low 90s and shoves it right up there. And you're going, dude, what the hell happened? But that's baseball. The mental side is so undervalued in life. And in this case, we're talking about baseball in sports. So, all right, we got some callers in here. First one in here, I saw that popped in. And again, call-ins are open for our channel members, Holy Shirts and Pants members. Appreciate you guys. So joining us now from down Arkansas. He's probably got some Mississippi facts for us. The more you know with Joe. Just kidding, Joe. Just kidding. Arkansas facts. Don't get on me. How you doing, though, my friend?
Man, I'm making it. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you all right. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's warm out here today too, buddy.
You ain't kidding, man. I mean, in Baltimore, it feels like 97. It may be in my mind. In Arkansas down there, I know it gets hot.
Oh, I think it's feel like 103 here today. It's warm,
man. Woof.
It's warm. And we've been hustling. My boss was out here helping me catch up, so we've been moving and shaking all morning. So it's
Hell
been
yeah,
busy.
dude. Hell yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
staying busy.
yeah, I gotta go reload the truck today too. So it's definitely a fun Thursday.
Fun Thursday. Hey, so talk to me. What's on your mind?
I like that we got an extra first round draft pick. I think the value was a little low, but I don't think they were shopping Baker. I think Tampa just happened to pick up the phone, and Mike said, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
So with that
yeah.
said, it should be interesting to see these 4 picks, and if they go pitching, that'd be amazing. Obviously, we've talked about it. I'd like to see Gage Wood in Baltimore, but I don't know that that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
we'll see. There are a couple other Arkansas pitchers in that draft that probably lower round draft picks that I'd like to see on the squad too. Like Will McIntyre, he's already I think he's 26. He's been in school forever, so he could easily have an impact in a year or two.
Yeah.
So remember, you got a lot of guys coming out with a lot of experience this year because of that COVID year. So it's going to be a fast track to the big leagues if they perform well.
Oh, for sure. It's the older pitchers, they're going to try to push a little bit more too, because they got to see what they got.
Yeah.
And the other part too, Joe, the O's and a lot of other teams, you get to a certain philosophy, you get burned by past experiences. And I did think it was interesting that Jim Duquette talked about the O's got burned. And I remember they got burned with a couple pitchers that didn't sign early in the draft. And that can really mess with you. So I don't blame teams, but having said that, if you want to try to develop in-house pitching, you got to have to draft some pitchers in the draft and early. So I'm curious for your guy Wood. I'm curious where he's going to go. I do think that the Orioles, there's no surprise that they're going to try to get who they think is the best available. They're not going to try to reach for any specific player, so to speak.
I mean, Zach Root is a pitcher to go after. I think he's in the draft. He was our Friday night starter. Wore the number 33, just like most Friday night starters have. It was Hagen Smith in 24, Zach Root in 25. I'm not sure why college doesn't retire baseball numbers like that for stud pitchers, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I feel like they could do more. I still think back, like Michael Roth is like a legend at South Carolina, where he would throw. I felt like he threw like 85. I know he threw a little harder than that, but he was lights out and an iconic figure down there for the Gamecocks. Football, they do it. You play one season there, they put your they put up some stuff and whammy. That's how it rolls, right? So
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
see.
nobody wears number 5 on the football team because that's Darren McFadden. So I don't think it's retired, but no one wears number 5. No one wears 15 because of Mallet, and I think some of that's because he's passed away. But
Yeah,
nobody. They were talking about on the radio this morning. They want a Darren McFadden statue outside the stadium.
dude, Darren McFadden was a beast.
So it would be something to look into for them
For sure.
to do. But yeah, I got a fact for you, and then we'll roll because
Give me a fact here.
I put this out on the Facebook and Instagram yesterday. There's 42,000 farms in Arkansas. 97% of them are family owned, and Arkansas is the largest producer of rice in the country.
How much rice we talking?
Over 50% of the rice comes from Arkansas.
Okay, time out. So let me take a sip real quickly. So you can find diamonds in Arkansas. Arkansas is the largest river that runs into the Mississippi. And now if I want to get in the rice business, Arkansas is the place I'd want to go and do that.
That is correct. There is Riceland rice here that's very prominent in Stuttgart and what's that other little town? Wiener. Yep.
Sorry, Wiener?
Wiener. Yep.
Like
Wiener,
Oscar
Arkansas.
Minor or Wiener?
Yeah. Wiener, Arkansas. Where the rice, a lot of rice comes from.
Well, I guess if I want to get in the rice business, I'm going to Wiener, Arkansas.
Or Stuttgart.
I like Wiener. No, it didn't come out right. So I knew you get a kick out of that.
I'm not the one that's going to clip it. You got to worry about Brooks, not me.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for the program. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I hope you enjoyed that, Joe.
I did. That's going to be great.
Oh yeah, Brooks already on it. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, Joe.
see? Told you.
Well, thank you for the facts. I agree with you on the pick. I hope the best for Brian Baker. And hey, we might have some other things up our sleeve this weekend, so stay tuned. All right.
And you got to give Rocco some access back so he can put me in timeout. I mean, he probably was like Jones in like a crack fiend last night that he couldn't put me in timeout. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was like, I'll hop on. I'm like, dude, you have family. Your dad's there. And he's just like, he just wants some love, man. He just wants some attention. But it was good having him back, and the Rip After Darks are going to be fun. I think that's going to be a nice little thing we're going to add that can just be for our members here. And Lord knows we're going to have a time. So, Joe, I appreciate you, man. And you have a great stinking rest of your Thursday, and we'll talk soon. Stay cool, all right?
I'm going to try. Great day to be a hat.
Hey, it's a great day to be a hat. Nice looking hat there. See you, Joe.
See you later, guys.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Great movie, by the way. Great movie. Yeah, Rick, and I'm sorry. I hope you're okay. Otherwise, I'm glad that everyone likes the play on words there. Okay. Yes, I said it. The town. It's a great town in Arkansas, Wiener, Arkansas. We're all taking a field trip down there. Ryan Ripken Show field trip. Next up, that's on the call-ins. We got Steve. Steve, what's going on?
Outside of the weather being rainy and nasty, not much.
Mhm.
Good Orioles.
Okay.
Great win. Great win against the Mets. Got to go into game 2 and do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to win the game. You just got to win the game. That's all you need to do. Just win, Steve. It's not that hard.
It's like Gal Davis used to say, just win, baby.
Just win. That's the motto here. That's the motto. And you know what? I'd argue something, Steve, by the way, whenever I saw a comment about starting pitching definitely gives teams confidence. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And when your starting pitching stinks, that hurts the team. But I'll tell you what happened in game 1, the Orioles win that. The Orioles starting pitching wasn't the problem for that game, right? Brandon Young pitched great. The Orioles have had multiple games like that where if you win, right? You're feeling a lot better about where you're at. And they got a handful of games. There might be 10 games at least. I might even be 12 to 15, Steve, that I can think about that might have not been to the lose a 4-run in the 8th field, but games that the Orioles should have won given everything that happened. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that.
Agree. I mean, especially going back to that debacle 8-0 game against Tampa.
That was fun.
I mean, it was fun, and then Tampa just said, "Yeah, screw you guys. We're taking over."
Yeah, you want to know what's worse is when you're in the field and you're dealing with that, and then you lose that game, or you're winning by 6 in the 9th inning with 2 outs, which actually happened. I think it was 2 outs, or no, we were up 5 with 2 outs in high A. 2 outs, we lost in extra innings. Yeah, hey, how you doing with that? That was tough, and you're sitting there going. Say a lot of different words, and I surely did in the process.
I don't know if you saw this last night. Ties are down in Jacksonville. They got a doubleheader tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, did you see the bulk caused by lightning?
The Lightning.
That's a first for me.
Now, let me see if I can find that for people that haven't seen it. That was, you know what? I would have done the same thing if I was the pitcher. I would have absolutely jumped. I mean, it was ridiculous. I also played down that stadium. That was my first game in AAA. First hit in AAA. Didn't have many of them, but I did have a hit there. Base hit to right. People don't forget that, Steve. Where were you when Ryan Ripken got his first hit in AAA? I was in Jacksonville. Let me play that video for it, Steve, so people hadn't seen it. Okay. Here's the clip of the Jacksonville Lightning.
On third with nobody out. 1-1 the count on Paulie. A huge crash of lightning as Contreras kicked. And it's a balk.
Wow. They're going to call that a balk, and everybody jumped.
Mother Nature gives Jacksonville a run. It's 2-1, and Norfolk is arguing the call, but I don't know how you could argue that. Unfortunately,
it's unfortunate timing. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Wow. I mean, that was a humongous roll of thunder, as if Zeus was throwing a thunderbolt in the vicinity of this ballpark, and the entire ballpark jumped up. In fact, some fans are not even waiting. They're going to go for cover right now, even though it's not raining. So,
yeah, one more time here. Just hear it.
On Paulie. A huge crash of lightning as Contreras kicked.
You know what I love with this is that when you see this guy score,
it's a ball.
There's Sam Basayo like, yeah, that happened. And then the guy that just scored is like, damn, I was doing it too. We're all ducking. But it's the right call. Like, that sucks. It sucks. You know, I'd like to say, umpire, have some feel. If you were on the opposing team, would you have wanted the call? Probably, you know?
Yeah.
More than likely.
But, you know, I'm going to say this, and I might get off of here.
Yeah.
Win the series tonight. Take 2 of 3 from Miami, minimum, and go into the break with a little bit of momentum.
So you're saying the Orioles have to stop the red hot Marlins on the road?
Marlins lost yesterday.
So it's over now. They're back to losing. You want me to tell Connor Norby and Stowie to take it easy?
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, those two are going to get a big ovation from the Oriole fans tomorrow night.
I mean, they should. You know, here's my thing. When players get traded, if there's no bad blood, and usually there isn't, like even the Machado thing, I saw some people didn't want to root for Manny. You could say, oh, he wanted to leave. If they wanted to extend him and he wanted to stay, you could try to work things out, but he didn't do anything to the city. He worked his ass off as a bird. Nick Markakis spent 9 years, and I think Nick wanted to actually stay. I don't think he'd ever admit that on air, but he had to go. Like, it was a move, but that doesn't change what the guys do. Stowie gave everything he had and tried to do his best. Norby did the same thing in limited time. So I'm happy for them. Hopefully you get to talk to them tomorrow. Hopefully they can try to beat the Papa Shot record. Maybe we'll have some things this weekend. Maybe, Steve. We'll see.
But I'm looking forward to this weekend, though.
Hey, I am too. And Steve, appreciate you. And we'll have to maybe get another Rip Off After Dark rocking and rolling.
Oh, please do. I loved it last night. I was busting my guts laughing my ass off.
You know, it's a new thing we want to bring to the channel and the members, right? Like this time we're talking a lot of sports, we're talking shop, and we'll talk it on the Rip After Dark, but that's where you get to maybe know too much about me. And we get to see Rocco's ugly mug at the same time. So
All right.
You know.
We'll talk
All right,
after.
Steve.
We'll talk next week.
All right, man. Or maybe we'll see you this weekend. Have a day, have a night, Steve. Cheers. Steve, good kid. Good kid. Good kid, Steve. Well, and I just see, I think this is our last Holy Shirts and Pants member caller. Jake, I see you joining. Appreciate you, man. Welcome to the group, man. And then, hey, without further ado, let's bring you onto the screen. Jake, what's going on?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you crystal clear.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm trying on my computer for the first time. Usually I call in on Zach's show.
Yeah, I've seen you on the late night grinds calling in with the guys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a nice way to blow off some steam or just kind of bask in the glory when we pull one off.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I mean, look, I that was kind of started because Zach and Kevin, right? They were like, we should go live after each game, and I'm like, buddy, I got to do pregame at times. I got to do TV work. You guys want to talk right after the game. People are still going to blame me for some reason. I'll let you guys hang in there and do it. And they do a great job, right? It's a fun experience. And you obviously have enjoyed it. It's like therapy for some. It's a little therapy session. And Lord knows what happens over there, Jake. You know what? I can't even express sometimes what can happen over there, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I heard you earlier talking about how the early 2000s hip hop game and kind of where Zach and those guys were at that time. Were they I'm guessing they're in their early mid-20s because I'm 39, so I'm well aware of what you're tracking.
Thank you, Jake. So Zach is literally born in the year 2000.
Okay.
And Kevin would try to say, oh, he's a 2000s baby. Kevin was born in the 90s. Yeah, it was the late 90s, but he was still born in the 90s. But they still they don't get it. They don't get it, Jake. So they say that they know who Ludacris was because I say it all the time. When I move, you move, just like that. Like they got to know it now, right? But there's no way if we went down going back to Outkast, they'd have no idea. Going to truly into Nelly outside Hot in Here because of Ray Lewis and the Ravens. You were to talk about Air Force Ones, Ride With Me, they just don't know. They're kids, Jake. They're kids.
They are. I mean, I do appreciate their late night talks. They're definitely more mature than some I've seen. I've told them I'm over down here at Fort Bragg, so we have a large population of people in their late teens, early 20s, and you get some. It's like any bell curve. You get some that are rock stars and mature beyond their years, and you got others where I'm like, oh man, I gotta wait for the phone call from the cops.
Yeah. I mean, there is part of that. We got a good group that is responsible enough. The funny thing is with Brad on the show, Kevin thought Brad, who's the eldest of the group, right, that Brad was the most mature, and I go, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Brad, the guy that's making jokes left and right. We like to have fun, right? We like to shoot the shit. Are we going to do something reckless? God, I hope not. It's not going to be for me.
Right.
But I might have a mix up of words Wiener, Arkansas, which is a city, by the way, everyone out there. We're taking a trip. Ryan Ripken Show. We're going to Wiener, Arkansas to get some rice, Jake.
Nice.
That's the trip. But so, hey, what else is on your mind?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. No, I think you earlier, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago when you were talking about strike, lockout, all that stuff. I thought you had a really good summarization of just like the overall thing without getting too involved in it. And what I mean by that is I hear a lot of podcasts and other kind of shows, and it seems like it's with baseball more than any other sport. It seems that there is a real disconnect between ownerships and the Players Association. And maybe that's because of history. It's the longest running, and there's history that goes back 150 years, really.
For sure.
You did a good job laying out. I'm wondering, is it pretty common from the players to understand, or maybe it's just my assumption, and from an outsider, it's when I hear of a cap, I'm like, of course, but it also comes with a floor. And we also, an arbitration is so long that, fans of Orioles for 30 some years, of course, I want a cap. of course, but I also understand that these guys cannot be getting and have these arbitration years at the same time. The whole thing needs to be blown up if you're going to do a cap, and that includes what is it? Revenue sharing, excuse me, amongst the owners, which I just found out the other day. I guess one of the union chiefs went on one of these other shows the other day and was saying that, like, if the Dodgers, for example, the rich teams and the poor teams are going to change their percentages of sharing with them amongst each other, that also has to include the union. Like, they have to be in the conversation. I did not know that.
Yeah. It's very complex with that. You know, the idea is simple when people go, hey, we want a salary cap. And then the part that I don't like is when people get so complex about trying to break it all down. This is just a reality, is that players don't want it unless it is a clear system where they can get paid earlier on, right? Like, because why guys want to get paid out the wazoo is because they got to go through years and years of team control, and then you're finally breaking through to make some cash. And then you want to cash in on the biggest deal, and that's where these major markets can then really strike of being like, hey, we're going to spend more money. And then that's where it's at. Like, I don't blame a single player for chasing the dollar bill if that's what they want, because in an instant that can be done. And I brought up the Santander. With Santander's injury right now, say that was last year, and he was hurt and he wasn't playing well in a contract year. Is he going to get his 90 million that he got? Probably not. He might not even sniff it. And how many players did we see that you thought was going to be the next superstar, and then it didn't pan out, and then the team, his value tanks. So there's so much to it, and I don't want to. And I try to just keep it simple. If you're gonna make a cap, you're gonna have to really gut what you've done, or the players are gonna say, "Screw it, we're gonna sit this thing out. We're gonna be locked out. You come to us with a real chance and opportunity. If not, we'll see you when we see you." And that's just the way it is.
No, that makes sense. I guess my thing is also, I'm just real curious because I know you obviously with your experiences, you have quite a bit of experience now in both broadcasting, obviously, and before as a player. I'm just looking on the outside. I see everybody just sees the Soto contract and it's like, okay, cool, that's 1 in a million, whatever, or 1 in however many players there are. From a player who may be kind of on the margins of making the team, or on the team, but you're going back down, up and down, you're playing that game kind of deal, and you're just like kind of on the cusp. Is there a little bit of disconnect, or not disconnect, but I guess a separation between not the haves and have-nots, but the players making that much money and the guys near the bottom rung kind of deal? Because I do feel like with a floor, maybe that would help a solid floor that's fair to the players, that's been agreed to, that maybe some of those guys, instead of making their, I don't know, $500,000, I don't know what that is at the league minimum, that they might get a little bit bigger piece of the pie as opposed to only a handful of players making that ginormous $40 to $50 million a year kind of contract.
Well, I think the best players need to be rewarded regardless. And I mean, I want to also make this clear. If you're in the big leagues, I mean, the minimum salary is like $760,000 or something like that, right? So like you're getting, I think Jake, you and I would take that paycheck. Personally, I would take it. But so like, right, so when you're not on the 40-man roster, because to be on the 26 in the big leagues, you have to 25, 26. I'm confused now with when they add the extra guy, 27. Yeah, 26. The 40-man. When you're on the 40-man and you're in the minors, the more you're on the 40-man, you're making more than what the normal player is going to make in AAA that's not on the 40-man, right? So, and then there's the service time that adds on to it. So if you were in the bigs for 3 years or whatever, 2 years, and you get sent down, you're on the 40-man, plus you get whatever the service time, multiplier you get. So I don't think that players, I'll tell you what, I haven't heard anything that players are upset with guys that get paid the big money. I think just players want to feel when the time comes where they got to be valued, that they're getting paid fairly. And I really do think if they do change the system and they added a cap or they added whatever, I think that would open up for teams trying to extend players early. Like they would be more willing because they're like, you know what, we only have them for 2 or 3 years. Why don't we do it now? But instead they go, well, we have a guy for 4 or 5 years like Gunnar Henderson. They want to make a deal with Gunnar, but Gunnar's like, and Boris, well, hey, like, it's got to be something that's worth my time because I know I'm going to get paid. And I'd rather make sure I take a big deal because if Gunnar gets hurt tomorrow and is not the same guy, his value drops. And that's something that I think could change with it. And we could talk about this forever. I know we're going to continue to talk over and over about it, but that's the fascinating conversation, right? It's the salary cap, what you see in football, like it's the best one for me to show.
Sure.
Is that when you extend guys and you can have the signing bonuses and you're working throughout it, that's great. But you also see players get extended before their time's up with their team. But it's because you have that threshold. Baseball is just so damn weird that, you know, in what ways do you want to have guys that are getting extended into their 30s? And you're really, when you pay a guy that makes the free agency, in my opinion, they rarely actually live out to their whole contract. Like you're paying for what they did and what you hope they do for like 3 years, but not what they're going to do for the next 10. So that's just, that's my take.
No, I agree. And I know you probably got somebody behind me, so I'll run off here. So I don't want to clog you up and anything.
Well, no, I appreciate it, Jake. But no, I'm glad you joined, man. Hell yeah. I mean, I'm actually wrapping up a little bit earlier today just because the Heat want to make sure the equipment's good. Running around, we got so much content. We might be doing some stuff tomorrow and Saturday, you know, so stay tuned with that. And now that you're a channel member, by the way, we do this Rip After Dark where, you know, we get a little bit more explicit and unfiltered behind the scenes. So we did that with Rocco. You haven't had much running with Rocco, have you?
No, I see him on the Twitters, right?
But thank God you haven't. But Rocco's a member of our group, so Rocco hops on now more, and that's the way where we're going to have more chats like this. We're going to answer more of the questions. We're going to shoot the shit. Doesn't necessarily always have to be about sports. We can just talk life. But you're a part of it, and when we have these call-ins every Thursday, Jake, when you're not busy.
Right.
Come and have a chat with us and hang out. So that's all about.
Man. I will. No, I appreciate it. I can't wait to enjoy all the fruits of the membership time.
Hell yeah, dude. I appreciate you. Cheers, man. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right. See you, Ryan. Have a good one, man.
You too. And that's Jake, and he's a brand new member of the show. And Jake, appreciate it. And I appreciate all of our members here. You guys really make everything go. And I truly mean that. You know, we're a long way from where we want to be, but it's because of you guys that we're able to continue to grind and move ahead. And sometimes we feel like we're just winging it. And sometimes, hell, we are. But the growth in 22 months has been astounding. And it's a big reason because of our community that we've built and our home platform at YouTube. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe. We're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Shout out Facebook. I see you hitting those likes. You guys are great. And it is hot. It is hot out here at Merritt Clubs, but you know what? Maybe I got to go take a little dip in the pool right here in Canton, but I'll be back here doing much more with Merritt Clubs. Hell, I'm doing a kickboxing class. You want to see, not have me get my ass kicked, but maybe work on my endurance. That'll be coming your way soon. But what could be coming your way, especially for the channel members, we might have a few more interviews up our sleeve. And if you've gone this long to the interview, appreciate you guys. And I'll let you know, Ryan O'Hearn is the guy we're interviewing tomorrow. We were supposed to have Mr. Brohearn earlier last Friday, but things came up. He had to do what he had to do, and I will never blame him for having a little bit more family time. That's what we're about here. We're about the community. So thank you guys. Shout out Merritt Clubs again. If you guys want interest on what's going on with Merritt Clubs, all the services, hit me up. They got free consulting. We have fitness challenges, and we're going to have a lot of great other things in there. So final words. I can't hit the thing to play the music here, but do bump 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 bump. And as always here on the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking rest of your Thursday. Join the Discord too. It's free. Be a channel member. Help us help you make this better. But above all, just have a great stinking weekend. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Be good.